Greetings friends! As a yearly tradition, Epic Games gives away a random game for free each day near Christmas. The 21st's game piqued my interest. I thought, Lego Builder's Journey. Though sadly I've not played any previous Lego games, and I know this one is not new, but it is exciting. So I hope you enjoy. Let's go. We begin on a small beach with one block to place, then another, then a few more. It's turning into a sandcastle. Nope, washed away by the sea. A horrifying event we all witnessed as a child. Attempt 2, a different shape with a smooth top. Nope, washed away again. Attempt 3, a taller structure with its top piece hidden behind. It was at this point that we were introduced to our two main characters, Where's Wally and, Boy. From here, they'd work together to progress through the levels, starting with a beautiful sandcastle, complete with dome, arches, and those castle-y wall thingies at the top. Of course, topped off with the flag, which somehow took me 3 tries to even place. Then, our first challenge of getting one across to the other. Moving the small orange block helps Boy progress. A massive turd then appeared down the river, allowing us to create the main portion of the bridge. Voila, the two were reunited. The next level was the same again, but with smaller turd pieces to place. You get the hang of it quite quickly with where each piece goes. Ta-da! Our first actual challenge involved a bit of climbing. We needed to stack the blocks in order to turn it into a staircase, but the orange block was also larger, so the idea was to move him, then the pieces behind him. Got there eventually, and Boy now had his own backpack and even a cute little hat. Wally was also wearing some proper gear, so let's call him Chief from now on. A few levels went by requiring the use of random other blocks on the floor, or ones that got knocked off, until we ended up at a campsite. As Chief was assembling the sleeping area, I assumed these wishbone things would go into these clips. Each one I placed made him place more, so that's a good sign. They then stood closer to it and lit the fire. As this game is RTX enabled, that light is blinding, but beautiful. In the early hours of the morning, I guess, I extinguished the fire, and that triggered the title to show up, Builder's Journey. Yeah, all of that was just the intro. It seemed to race against time here, as these muddy hills sank if too much weight was on them. This meant I had to speed along, quickly moving the platforms. I then had to fill in a small ravine using scraps floating in the water. It was like playing Tetris, but not at all. We then had a larger ravine with a dam at one end. I was unsure what to click on, until those pieces near the top were the ones actually holding it up. Move them, and ooh, down it comes. Simply use those scraps to fill in the gaps. Another muddy traversal led us to a platform, which lifted us up to this strange section. These two platforms seem to balance each other out. More on one lifts the other. That's exactly what I had to do. Chief then went around and I had to bridge over to him. We then arrived at a little house to spend another night. Just look at that glow. Waking to a very red hue, Chief was standing on the edge of the platform. Surely a game like this would not make me fear the worst, right? All was fine though, as we greeted each other, then began on another mini castle. Right in front of the house? Okay. While doing that, a strange platform came into view, and Chief got on it. Why? An eerie siren accompanied it, as if he was being sent off to somewhere. As I watched him fade into the abyss, I wondered if he'd return. Meanwhile, I was left to complete the castle. Ah, there he is. He's arrived at some sort of factory. Seems he was sentenced or ordered to watch over the construction of a few platforms. As I began placing those bricks, a bop of a tune started playing. Each completed platform gave a green light and dropped a star. After only 2 of those, he was sent back. I guess that's his shift finished. He soon returned and we resumed progress on the castle. I say we, he placed 2 bricks and then whizzed off again. Though the castle this time looked much better than the first one. After I completed the castle and put the flag up first time round, I then went indoors. Seems I slammed the door a bit too hard because the flag came off. I then entered another dimension, which turned out to be just the basement. Here I had to move this block over to create more light, and what is this? It looked like I was constructing another robot. That was correct, as placing the antenna made him spring into action, before dropping off a weird block and then Kool-Aid manning it straight through the wall. Oh yeah! I hope he's paying for that. Turns out the weird block was a skateboard, as these levels require the construction of a course to skate along. Woohoo, radical dude. After placing a few blocks, he'd spit one out that would help with the construction, until I got so confused seconds later and lost a few brain cells trying to figure it out. I mean, what the heck is this? All that at the bottom just for him to hoop-de-doop like that. The next stage we entered saw us building some other creatures, at least they looked like it. The unnamed robot friends spat out pieces and I put them into the assembly. I had to create enough to turn on those lights at the other end, and it will lower the platform. I can then swap the bricks over from when I first started that level and go to the other position. Upon doing so, we enter into some form of candy land. And for the first time, you cannot put blocks anywhere you think they'll fit. It has to be color coordinated. For example, pink with pink and blue with blue, and so on. Still completing the skate track. A dome-looking thing lay ahead, and I had to build straight into it. A glow appeared, and whoop! Sadly, my robot friend couldn't join. Hey, I know how this works in other games. He better not be gone. I better see him later. We then enter into some strange factory process of putting these colors together, joined by another robot that I first thought looked like a kind of burger man, I suppose. You can guess what he looks like. After an eternity of satisfying his color fetish, he suddenly gets freaking RKO'd by our friend from before. Yes. I didn't notice at first, but he seemed to have something to offer while I was doing these puzzles. Some pyramid thing. I was confused on where it's supposed to go, until I put it straight in the middle, and then a regular block on top of that. Upon the drawer closing, oh good lord, what have I done? As the music started warping and it fading to black, I genuinely thought I'd failed the game, as if I did the one thing you shouldn't do.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Chief then returns home, and finds Boy is not there. I then reconstruct the flag that was knocked down earlier, and oh! So here's where we landed, the dumps. I'd say this section and the color sorting section are the best examples of the RTX lighting, carefully making my way across the rubble using only one light block to illuminate the way, sometimes having to use that same block as a building block. In this next section, I nearly lost it. I was thinking, boy, what in the f are we meant to do? It started off simple, using the block printing machine to stack up the printed blocks to get to the other side. But then this level, it had the flag on it, which was jamming up the machine. Later to find out that that is supposed to be there. Instead, my genius self took the extremely long way round the outside, using far too many blocks. This level was just a clever moment. But then we find ourselves back with Chief, who has the flag and flagpole. And then, in the most revealing way possible, I find out what those platforms are for. It turns out they're being made down here. So in a way, I'm stuck down here, he's up there, and we have to reunite. Once again, clueless. I tried sending the flag down to see if I could use it to jam up the machine like in the previous level. Then, by putting the block on this green square and Boy's hat in the middle of those other dot things, the machine then prints a block in the middle of the platform. Obviously rinse and repeat that and you should be able to build up. But then suddenly Mr. Kool-Aid Man again bursts out through the door. He gives me a flagpole, I put the flagpole on the middle block, it goes back up, I put the flag from the top on the pole, it comes back down, and then I jam up the machine. Genius. After more millennia of getting it wrong and going around the long way, it's meant to be Boy and Robot going up on the platform, not Boy to Robot. So we do that. Oh hell no, Boy, no. Suddenly we end up on these intermediate levels, and Chief for some reason is dragged into them as well, but we're at different stages. But in a pretty cool twist of game mode, these knobbly things are supposed to be twisted, like powering up the system. The more you spin them, or the faster you spin them, determines what happens next. So while Chief is puking out sheets of color, Boy and Robot enter a different stage. Suddenly, Boy is able to ride on the back of the robot, and with some magic is able to turn bricks into platforms to bridge across. While the robot was spitting out more blocks than I've ever seen in my life, Chief was in some sort of sorting system, except I found out that the platform you put him on can go the other way. And then the depths of hell opened, and for some reason Chief is supposed to go into it. After a lot more building, they meet again. They cross paths, except Chief is unaware, as he goes through another portal opening. As a result, he ends up in another color factory. This was another top-bottom scenario until I found out that the blocks they were sending down can be used to go around the back where that light source is. Except, of course, the moment you touch the light... God dang it. But wait, is that the robot? Please don't be dead. He's not fully, of course, you have to kind of shock him back into life, where he then spits out a few more blocks to use as a little helicopter. Chief flies out, picks up Boy, and then they go to the mainland. Or, it looks like a Minecraft biome. Here they build what I thought was the greatest castle yet. A third castle. Except, oh no, it's a helicopter with a steering wheel. and a fin and jet engines, because why not? They take off in their glorious creation, and that's it. That is essentially the end of the game. And this ending sequence looks lovely. Thanks. Yes, thank you to all those people for making the game. God, that was a good game. And I'd like to thank you for watching as well. If you did enjoy this type of video, don't forget to... And as our last task, the flag.